Yo, what it is, everybody? Thanks for tuning back into another episode here on the Speedbug channel. Well, I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit today about some Ducati content, and I'm not going to rag too hard on it. So for my Ducati fanboys and the lovers, y'all know that I have had many Ducatis, worked, fixed, raced on many of them, and decided to obviously part ways here with mine. Had a little something on the lens. But I want to talk a little bit about why I think one specific Ducati is no longer made, but it is in the past, and it kind of goes against some of my better judgment because, like, that old saying when some people say, oh, you like, you know, the old version or this bike or whatever was the best because of whatever reason. Like, a lot of people love to say that the '07 GSXR was the best GSXR ever made. Well, and then I always follow up with, well, if it was the best one, they would have kept making it. They would have never iterated new designs or anything like that and moved forward with anything. Well, I don't believe that, but however, from a mechanical standpoint, this one is kind of an exception, but again, there's still many things about the V4, including the one that I even had, that was light years better than this one. And in my humble opinion, I do believe that the Ducati 1299 SR, whichever one, but the 1299 was probably and arguably the best and definitely by far the most reliable Ducati ever made. Now let me go into a little bit on why I think so. Well, the first thing is that it stemmed from a lot of other motorcycles, just as the evolution of all of the other ones have come up with the 1098, 1199, and then you have 1299, and of course you have small variations of anything in between then. However, that bike really, and there was even ones before that, which you can really even start, that I think it started from the 916, but, and the Ducati owners and stuff, you can ridicule me or correct me in the comments, I don't care. I'm sure I've left out plenty of them, but I'm not Wikipedia. But after working on a lot of them and riding all of them and stuff like that, by far, hands down, 100%, even though 1199 and the 1299 are very similar, but they are so very different when you look in there. They're just not bigger pistons and just more power. As an overall broad view, sure, but there are still many other differences that differentiate the two bikes. But the reason why I want to say it is the best Ducati so far, hands down, due to the fact of reliability. And reliability is by sure a big issue with this brand. And yes, it is a race bike. Yes, it's designed to be taken apart and put back together all the time, and that's what makes it such a shit street bike. But the 1299 had a lot of less problems than any other Ducati that's pretty much still been on the market today. And I truly believe that is because they had so many generations to really try and get that bike right. And it was what? I mean, I guess you could say almost pretty much a whole decade. Even though that specific model wasn't made for a whole decade, but they learned so much from the 1199 and everything else from the previous generations that they really got that bike right. Where that bike really fell short, because a lot of people really did like that bike, especially it made great horsepower, it made phenomenal torque, hell, even more torque than the V4, and that's what got a lot of people addicted to it. Still looks good today, even though it's the previous gen to the V4, but where that bike really fell short was the heat. And that bike, if anyone that owns one knows that that bike is seriously hotter than Satan's gooch, and it is so hot after like 10 minutes of riding. Now if you're staying moving at 100 miles an hour, it's not that bad. You got a lot of air to keep everything going and keep everything through it and between you and your legs and the fairings and everything like that. But the second, boy, you stop, and if you are maybe in a hot day like how you are here in South Florida, not so much maybe a cooler day riding up in the north, but the second you stop, whew, your ass is on fire like eating too much hot sauce, I'll tell you. And it becomes so hot to the point where it does. It makes the bike unenjoyable to ride. And for the individuals that always ask me, and I get it in a lot of comments as well, hey, is it a lot hotter than riding the V4 right here? Is it a lot harder than riding an 1199? And it is much hotter, a ridiculous amount. The bike, I feel, is much more refined. Not more refined than the V4, but then the 1199, the 1098s, and all that other stuff, and the 959s, all those other ones, you know, the smaller ones. It's children and cousins and all that other stuff. But it's so damn hot, and that's where that bike fell short. Now, when you put the titanium exhaust and you can delete the cats and stuff like that, that really does help. And it really does. And I've ridden one with stock exhaust, and I've ridden one with pretty much a full open exhaust. And it's nice, and it really does help because it allows the heat to actually escape from the engine and run through the engine as it's supposed to. However, once you still stop moving, those pipes end up still getting hot. The best thing about it is when you do have an open exhaust is that it allows the pipes to actually cool a little bit. But again, the pipes still get hot, the cylinders still get hot, the heads get hot, the antifreeze gets hot, so on and so forth. But as far as the reliability standpoint, from the mechanical side, the transmission, the clutches, the gears, and everything like that, and you work on it, it's just a lot less maintenance compared to some of the other Ducatis, and hell, even its big brother, which just came out, which is the V4 over there. So I don't know what the hell Ducati was really thinking, because I really think that that was like their pinnacle. They really had a home run on that bike, and I really think they could have took a lot of the things. And I get it, the V4 is an all-new platform, you know, first four-cylinder Ducati. Well, not first, but in the Panigale, and it's still a cool bike. I still really love it, but the bike is still completely unfinished here in 2020, and it's already been out 2 years, and a lot of the bugs and stuff like that still have not been finished or fixed. So I'm going to tell you, if I was going to get another Ducati, it would definitely be a 1299. Obviously, open up the exhaust, ceramic coat everything, and that would at least make the bike enjoyable. God forbid I do have to stop, because it would get ridden as well on the street, let alone some on the racetrack. But that to me is what makes some of the other bikes like the ZX-10s, the GSX-Rs, hell, the CBRs, and I mean, even the Yamahas, which aren't nowhere near as great as the previous three as a street bike as the ones that I just listed. That's what makes these bikes also so great. Forget the fact that it's a V formation and the exhaust exits in the front, because I've ridden many inline four-cylinder bikes where it's just hot as shit, and you can't wait to get off of it. So that's just my opinion. I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of background, and let me know what you guys think below, because a lot of you all that watch me and watch my channel say, hey, I do have a 1299 or I have an 1199. A lot of people get the 1199 because it's still significantly cheaper than the 1299, and I'm looking to upgrade to either the GSX-R or a V4, or maybe an Aprilia RS V4, or a ZX-10, or especially the S1000 RR. And you ask me a lot of my opinions on that, and I tell them, and honestly, well, the one thing that you're going to never miss is that damn heat, because when you're riding with your girl, your guys, whatever, and you have to stop and cool, and you're waiting at a stoplight, or this, that, the other, it's just, you're just like boiling, like you're just hot. You're just like, damn, Satan, you just like, take it easy on these nuts, man, because it literally boils. You can get off that bike and be sterile. It's just so hot. But a lot of people sacrifice those looks over that quality, and sooner or later that shit runs out, and then you finally just move on forward. And one of the great things that I really do love about the GSX-R is the fact that how cool it actually does run. Now, for me to sit here and say that it doesn't ever get hot or anything like that, that's an understatement. The only bike that don't get hot when you're riding is something like the little Gromsky here. But the GSX-R, the BMW, they all still get hot, but nowhere near as hot as those V-twin motorcycles. But you also have to take into account that you have one cylinder in the front and one pretty much right under your ass. So the heat's got to go somewhere, and heat rises, so naturally it's just going to go up. So that's kind of my synopsis. I just wanted to give a little bit of insight on that. And I do believe that the 1299 is probably the best Ducati still made to date. And who knows, maybe if I decide to grab another one, that'll be the one coming. Or maybe one day, if they get all of their shit right on the V4, come out with something better, We'll see, but definitely no V2 or anything like that, even though I don't really care for the brand, but I still follow everything. But we'll see what's going down. But that's going to wrap it up here for today's video. I hope you guys like what you saw. A little bit, not me harping too much on it today, but something a little bit different. And we'll catch you guys on another one. Peace.